trying to log away. All right, so we are underway here for this 15-minute time-capped event. We start with the synchronized muscle-ups, and already we see something that Tanya, I think we talked about we were going to see. Somebody was going to get to the top of the muscle-up and have to hold it, waiting for everyone else to get there because this is synchronized up top.
That is where it's synchronized, and there are some movements that as a team are just easier to synchronize, like burpees, where you're not under fatigue while you're waiting, you're just hanging out there on the ground. But the muscle up is a completely different story. So if you know you're faster to get up there, and your cadence, your tempo is quicker up there, you don't have to be the first one up there if you know where everybody's at. This takes time, and you have to practice these to know.
Adrian, we're looking at singles from a lot of these teams. Does that surprise you?
You know, when I consider the difficulty of being outside under the sun and with the long straps, then you add on the synchronicity that is needed for this particular thing. I'm not. I will say that a lot of these teams don't have the opportunity to just face each other like this in training and actually apply this unusual skill of synchronizing this style of ring muscle.
How many affiliates have 4 sets of rings put in this kind of close proximity that you can even do it?
Well, like Adrian said too, the long straps make a big difference for fatigue, and we know that number of 10 doesn't sound like it should be much. A lot of these teams can do 10 unbroken, but the biggest thing is it's about the longer straps, the fatigue, and the compounding effects of this pig and what it's going to do for them.
Team 2150 in lane 5, the first one out to the pig flip here. These pigs weigh about what a pig weighs. On the men's side, 510. On the women's side, 350. Maybe coincidental, maybe not.
It's a lot of bacon.
I prefer not to think about it that way, Adrian.
I get it.
Makes me sad.
Now these pigs they're tough to flip. They make them look easy, but when you think about that weight and what they're doing time over time, it's as if you're setting up for a max flip. And that's why, Adrian, when you said about the tempo of the pig, it's really, you have to have the power and speed once you get up there, but you need a good footing and you need to have a good setup.
That's extremely important, and as we're even watching on it, it's like you see the way these athletes have to brace themselves. You want to see that the shoulders are slightly in front of their feet here as they kind of lean forward and get as much momentum going forward as they can. Of course, there's upward momentum that needs to be created, but if they're not forcefully pulling and pushing into that pig as they get their hands underneath it, they're going to really struggle. We'll see some athletes miss it in the transition.
This is 10 flips down the field here, and you do have to alternate back and forth, athlete to athlete. The men are going on their pig, the women are going on their pig. So obviously your ability to get back to the muscle-ups is held up by which of the pairs flips the pig the slowest. 2150 continues to be in the driver's seat here out of Nordhaven, Denmark. Qualified 5th out of the Lowlands Throwdown.
I love this combination of the pig being a strongman element, a strong portion, and then people that are smaller can say, you know, my advantage is not, I don't have the advantage there, but then you go over to rings, which is the opposite, you can be lighter and flip through. So I really like the pairing of these two, that it wasn't 2 strongman elements together.
Yeah, I love it. It's a beautifully programmed event when you think about 4 people. No matter where you're going, on the rings or on that pig, your weakest link's going to be highlighted in some way. And we love to see that from a team competition because we know at the end of these heats, we're going to get the most well-rounded team that's going to be sitting on top of this particular one of the points.
It's 2150 that makes their way back to the rings here.
2150 has the advantage with their synchronizations, or at least they did the first round. We'll see if they can make up that time again, because Training Think Tank definitely moved the pig faster.
Training Think Tank jumping up front by a couple of reps. Basically a dead heat at this juncture.
And this isn't where it matters. It's really going to be the compounding effects. Their forearms, Adrian, their forearms, their biceps, the pulling and holding onto the pig. The last thing you want to do is fatigue your arms like that going into synchronized muscle ups. If it was by yourself, you could do your own thing, but because you have to wait the extra second at the top and have that control with the long straps, that's what makes the difference.
Now we're talking about the secret power of being a successful team. Your fittest individuals have to be some of the most empathetic and aware people on your squad, because it's not about what you can do, Tanya. It's about how much I'm struggling on the rings, perhaps. And you got to be able to see that in me.
Well, that's where I love when we bring the super teams together.
Burpees.com to shop the best grips on the planet. Up to 15% off. If you run their complex tent, they do have some leftovers of the grips that all the athletes were given here at the games this year as well. Got myself a pair.
Wise choice. I rarely am doing ring muscles without.
Back to 2150 here. Frederick Studa, Victor Ruter are the men on the far side of your screen. Mia Fruto and Astrid 10 are the two ladies in the foreground.
Oh, that was a no rep. You can wait now. And it's only round 2.
And the waiting is important, right? You would think, hey, you're in a race, hurry up, but every failed rep is another failed rep piling on top of each other. Right there, you jump up, you miss the rings, it slows you down even more.
Yeah, even as we see Yaz right here getting set for their next rep, it's hard to make these considerations when you're not used to playing with rings outdoors.
And Raiders now got to leave her whole team hanging, and that is a very taxing move.
The communication there, and then not knowing the next one. This is what we expected to see, where some teams would fall apart with that communication there, and that's wasted effort.
And Yaz is a team of individuals. Gemma Raider did the work to put them together and say, hey, let's combine our forces, but they were 4 individuals who were trying to get to the games. This is the ultimate teamwork situation.
And that's where, you know, again, the beauty of it all is that it's going to come together and get tested here. We know the test will rely potentially on individual fitness capacity, but you're on a team for a reason. You're competing for that affiliate cup for a reason, and it's to see. We want to see how well can you do as a unit.
That is Training Think Tank in the gray right now, leading the pack. Mike McGoldrick and Chris Kincheski at the top of your screen. Brandy McGoldrick, Mike's wife, working at the bottom with Mia Janelli. That's Mike who just flipped over the pig.
Mike is an OG. Been competing against that guy since at least 2012, so he's been around for a minute.
And you can start to see the lead in the Training Think Tank is opening up. Even on 1855, who's hot on their heels, in lane 4 near the top of the screen.
These guys at the Training Think Tank, they've got a whole cadre and squad there, not just this team, but individuals representing them as well in the games, and they've got some great coaching and a lot of experience, so this team can't be a huge shocker to see them do well in something like this.
And they are coaches. 3 of the 4 on that roster are coaches. Mia Janelli, as a matter of fact, was hired out of college to be a coach at Training Think Tank, and when she got there, couldn't do a strict handstand push-up, and she struggled with ring muscle-ups. She's going to do both today at the CrossFit Games.
No hiding behind that lack of experience or lack of capacity. I'll tell you what, that also shows her ability to really put in the time and effort to develop as an athlete. To see her on a stage like this, you walked into affiliate not having those skills. That says a lot.
The 1855 is right there with them. But Adrian, it's who you hang out with. Tell my kids now, who your friends matters who you hang out with. And who you hang out with at your affiliate and how they're training, it bleeds off into you. And it really is, it matters the depth and how people push you.
No, it's an amazing point that you're making. It's the community, right? That's what drew us all into CrossFit. Usually to start is the working out kind of sucks at first, and then you're like, oh, I like these are my people. And they push me to be better. That's what's important.
And you come through on the other side and it's a bond.
Yep.
Sarpsborg in lane 8, we highlighted off the top, the Norwegian team running back out to the pig. We're on round 3 of 4 here with a 15-minute time cap. So if teams are going to get in under that time cap, they're going to have to hustle.
And I didn't notice specific splits off of that first round, but it seems a couple of these teams actually have refined their ability to synchronize these muscle-ups versus round 1. There was a lot of faltering, some of them are a little smoother.
Well, I think that's it's a smart strategy to come out and go slower with the straps, and then also let's see what that pig does to us. Let's see how fatigued we are. You don't want to go to the pig with your first set already heart rate high from holding on and working so hard on the muscle up. So they're kind of going off the same pace. I feel like that from that first round, just to take a little more cautious.
Yaz was in the top 3 earlier. They have dropped out of that position at the moment. 1855, a repeat team from last year's games, right now holding the lead. Gemma Raider is on the right. That's Martha Cook right in front of you. Mike McCary, Paula Rocio, formerly the fittest in Guatemala, the 2 men for this team from Yaz, competing out of the UAE.
Here's a note to sticking to your basics, folks. The athletes that are waiting at the top of this ring muscle up are in an isometric contraction, a ton that can be overlooked with, hey, let's just accumulate some time in a ring support and build our ability to wait for our teammates. Those athletes that didn't overlook that aspect, it's probably paying off for a ring.
How often are you guys doing ring supports in the gym every day, or every week, month?
That's a really great question. I would say for me, I had some great advice early on in my career. Around the time of 2012, when we first made it to the CrossFit Games on Axe Pack, we would do that as finishers often, accumulating 3 minutes to end a session. So I try to tie it in relatively as often as I can, that or some type of L sport.
And early journals, 2002, Greg Glassman, it spoke about dynamic and static gymnastic. We would be able to control your body not just through movement, but also through holds, L-sits, handstand holds. Any of those kind of isometric contractions, or even just holding squats, and any of that is so much, you can't move your way through weaknesses. But you can be solid in every part of start to finish of a movement that shows so much more control and body awareness.